Okay, hi there. Another video for LG refrigerators. In this one I'm just gonna go over how to properly recover freon before replacing the compressor and what I learned over my experience here. So we'll start with the components what we need to recover the freon. First we'll need to tap into the compressor with the piercing valves. Something like this, a couple different kinds. I also use gauges that has a high and low and high pressure, and right now we tapped in already, showing there's a 70 PSI on low and high side. The refrigerator is turned off right now. Then we have a recovery machine with a filter with the arrow that shows that freon is flowing this way into the machine as being filtered, and then it comes out of the machine, goes into recovery tank. That's on the scale, and the scale, I'm gonna zero out the scale, so we calculating how many ounces we recover. So right now it's already tapped in and pierced, and now we got freon all the way up to here. And there's probably some oxygen in the line here. So what we can do is, I'm gonna just turn this guy in off position. This is turned off for now. And open that a little bit. These are open, these are closed. So we're getting refrigerant up to here. Gonna bleed the oxygen a little bit. So the pressure is rising here. Okay, so we bleed the little oxygen out of this line. I can smell the freon in the air already, so we know there's no oxygen in the recovery system. So this is showing our pressure in the refrigerator side, and this is showing the pressure in the tank. So what the recovery machine does is actually liquefies the refrigerant, so the pressure doesn't rise really quickly as this thing is filling up. Otherwise, if you fill up with gas only, the pressure will be really high, so you can fit more in with this machine. Also, it sucks it out into vacuum. It has a pump that sucks the freon out of there. So we're gonna check how many ounces this refrigerator contains. So it's 4.4 ounces R134 refrigerant. So we're gonna turn on the machine. Right now it's in the off position. It has a slow recovery, fast recovery, and purge. So slow recovery, it's liquefying the freon more. Fast recovery, just sucking it out, pumping it to the machine. And purge is clearing out the system. And because some of the refrigerant stays in the system. So when I started doing this, I was always a little concerned if I'm doing it in a correct sequence. And sometimes I would get a lot of refrigerant in this line, very high pressure. I wasn't sure if I was doing it right because it would just spray really high. So I knew there was a lot of refrigerant in the system. So right now this is closed off. I'm gonna open this guy. So all that pressure is coming through the machine right now. And I'm gonna turn on the machine. So you see the pressure is dropping here. And it's so the machine is doing its job. Now we're gonna turn it into a slow recovery. As soon as we turn that on, it was a 70 PSI, and we're slowly falling down. We're already at 1 ounce. 1.1. So on a slow recovery, it takes a little while. I'm just gonna fasten things up. Gonna go to fast recovery. The pressure is dropping in the system. I want it to be in the vacuum, so I know all the refrigerant is out of the system. One thing for these LGs, sometimes they have a dual evaporator, which the way to know is would be a little valve there with two of those high pressure lines coming out, and there I would be splitting with a little valve there. So what we need to do is to put that refrigerator into a neutral position so that both evaporators are open at the same time. And to do that, you would have to have a refrigerator plugged in, and on the control board find this little button here. Press it once until you get a beep, and that's how you know the refrigerator is in service mode and both evaporators are open, and then you basically just unplug the fridge. But this one is a single evaporator, so I don't have to do that. And now we're getting closer to a vacuum here. My tank is pretty new, so it's not that much pressure in there. But usually I think these tanks are maxed out at 400 PSI. And we are already 2.9 pounds recovered out of 4.4. And there's some of it in the system probably, in the hoses. So when we're done recovering, we gotta hit the purge, and then it pumps everything out of the system and pushes it to the tank. There we go, we're dropping into negative in the vacuum, so we know the system is already evacuated, and there's no freon in the system. Still only 3 pounds here. I'm always like, I'm not sure if it's my scale or what, but I'm always about a pound, not a pound, an ounce less showing the scale. This scale is not very expensive one. This one was only like $70 on Amazon, but there's some really precise scales that you can get. So, alright, so now we're just gonna purge the system, try into purge position. From my experience, I know I'm already in the vacuum on the refrigerator even though it's showing a little less when what it was in the system of the fridge. Also, it could be that some freon leaked out over time and it's not exactly 4 ounces in there. My goal is to get it into vacuum, so. Alright, so this thing is I'm gonna turn it off. So it might be a little bit in pressure in there. Almost nothing. At some point I had spraying refrigerant in the liquid if I would not do the purging correctly. So that was my fear in the past, that I was like, oh, it's gonna be like gases all over, customer watching me, and it was really stressful doing this procedure. So yeah, with time you build confidence, you know you're doing all your steps right. So right now when I take this guy off, it should be a vacuum in there. The way I know is I take it off, put my finger on there, and I feel like sucking my finger in. High pressure, not so much, a little bit. Usually there's like a one-way valve. The refrigerant only flow one way. But yeah, we know this thing is totally empty now. It's sucking air in, and we're ready to cut the dryer filter, compressor, and the condenser coil. I'm gonna replace, because in the past I've seen these guys rot through and fail. So all right, so this is the recovery of the compressor, and I'll be doing some more videos how to remove and replace the compressor, I'm just gonna go one step at a time. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.